Welcome to JustWannaQuilt, a research podcast coming out of Tulane University Law School, where we explore all kinds of things, stories about quilting, tools, field trips, maybe some famous quilters stop by, and, of course, a little bit of copyright thrown in just for fun. I'm Elizabeth Townsend-Gard, your host. I'm a law professor at Tulane University Law School, and I just want to quilt. So this is part 2 of our conversation with Georgina Lewis. She's cool. She's so much fun. We're going to get into copyright in this session, and we're going to do some role playing and talk about all kinds of things.
So my name is Georgina Lewis, and I guess we have a plethora of topics we can talk about today, but yes. I think we're going to talk about copyright.
Oh, and, yes. We're going to talk about copyright.
and maybe some other great stuff about shop owners and social media and stuff. I don't know.
Totally.
It's up to you.
Sounds good. All right, cool. Well, let's get started with copyright. Let's put that.
Okay.
Sounds fun.
So you up for role playing?
Sure, go for it.
Okay, so I have some questions, and I want to role play like either it's myself or one of my shop owner clients.
Okay.
And
these are all hypotheticals, right? This is all hypotheticals.
These are all
not
hypothetical.
Yes, and I'm not an attorney. I am a law professor, and I'm not giving you legal advice. So those are the disclaimers.
Correct.
That's right.
But it'd be fun just to, go through and just kind of get some general knowledge out there.
Totally. Let's go. Let's do it.
Okay. So, hypothetically,
yes.
I've started, and of course my name's Georgina Lewis, so I've started trademarking my name out on the World Wide Web as Georgie Girl.
Okay.
And my thoughts, and I need you to correct them or tweak them, would be, okay, I'm going to start, posting my patterns out there as Georgie Girl, put my trademark out there, and
all
then
right, so
the next steps for me would be to research it.
Yes. All right, so that is trademarks. So the first question we have is, you want to, in this hypo, go to the USP. Are you on a computer?
I am.
Okay, so go to uspto.gov. And then those that are following along, if they're out there, so you can also try it if you're at a computer, if you're listening. Okay, so then you're going to go to, you see trademarks? We are looking through searching trademarks. So go to the top where it says patents and trademarks and then application process. It says searching trademarks.
I am almost there. I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's all good. This is high drama.
My computer is male, so it's still waking up.
Got it. All right. So when you get there, you're going to let me know when you're at uspto.gov.
Okay. Yeah, it's just going to take a minute.
Okay. So the idea is
all right, so I'm at USPTO. I'm there.
Okay, cool.
I got a trademark.
Okay, so the idea about trademark is trademarks are about your brand. So you think about like Jell-O brand gelatin, right? So the Jell-O is the name of the gelatin that they're selling. So when we're looking at a trademark, what we're looking at is a source identifier, whether that's like your company name or the product name. And what you want to do is see, when you're starting to think about a name, is there someone or some company out there that already has the name? Now, it's okay if other people have the name, like Delta Faucets, Delta Airlines. That's okay. But it can't be in the same, we call it classes. They're international classes. It can't be in the same class. It can't be close, right? And you really
don't. It can't be like verticals in the same vertical of business, right? Or even tighter than that.
I don't know what a vertical is, so tell me what a vertical is.
So same like type of business, exactly
right.
Type of business.
That's right. So we don't want them in the same type of business. Although we have this weird thing with Zoom. There's a Zoom recorder, and then there's also a Zoom program online that we're using right now that records us. So it's kind of weird that happened because like it's very confusing, right? Because I have to say to my students, oh, we're going to go on Zoom online, not the Zoom that we use for recording in person. So you can kind of see why that's the problem, right? That you want to be able to identify the good and have and it's really about customers. You want customers not to be confused. So the other thing to think about when you're thinking about a name is you don't want a name that is really famous. So because there's a thing called dilution. So there's two problems. First, there's dilution. So you don't want to put like Xerox patterns because Xerox is a highly protected trademark, and they're going to get mad that you're using their goodwill. So, so there's that. So when you're looking at a name, there's a whole bunch of things to look at about a name, strength of the mark, all of that. But what I usually do to begin is I go to the uspto.gov, and I go at the top. You can go see it says getting started, then application process. You go searching trademarks. So we want to go search. So click on that, and then you're going to search the trademark database, and you're going to do a basic word search. Now,
okay, so I don't go on trademark pull down. I go on like trademark basics, right?
Yeah, let's do basics. Yeah. So, oh, wait, no. Where are you? So we're going to do, let me do it again. So you go to the top, and it says getting started, application process. You're going to, at the very top, it says searching trademarks, right? You see that?
No, I'm at you. I must have gone too far. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. It's not a big deal.
uspto.gov,
right.
And I have a blue top, and it says I'm looking for, and I have a menu, patents, trademarks, IP,
That's
policy,
right.
and learning.
Pull down, like just hover over trademark.
Right.
And then see it says getting started, application process. Click on searching trademarks. You see that? Under application process? Huh?
Oh, yes, I do. I'm so sorry. I'm there.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay. Then it says you go down a little bit, and you're going to hit search trademark database.
Got it.
Now, what you're doing here is just a really, really quick and dirty search. Like, it's not like if you were like a big company, you would order a report and there'd be like a lot of work, right? But for us, we're just trying to say, like, is that name available? So you, so put in the name. What was the name that you were looking? What was our hypo name?
Georgie girl.
Georgie, how is it? George, and then you can do
Georgie space girl.
Okay. Okay, so what you want to do is so you want to do GEORG and then a star, because then you'll get all of the different versions of it, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I got back 20 results. Did you get back 20 results?
So I got back, I just put in the refined search, and I put it in all types. I got 4,000. So
okay, go back.
I'm doing a more.
Yeah. Do it again. So do GEORG and then the star, and then a space, and then girl. Try that.
Okay, I'll add that. All right.
And then hit submit, and then you should get about 20. Is that right?
I got 20.
Yeah,
yep.
Good. Okay. So then we're going to look. You see there's like the serial number, the registration number, the word mark, check status, and then live or dead. So if it's dead, that means that's not a trademark anymore.
Got it.
So you see that Georgie Girl there's been a bunch of them, right, that are dead. So like 7 to 20 are all dead. Now you can go and take a look at them and see what they were, right? One was abandoned. For Georgia Girls, not Georgie Girl, but Georgia Girls was a custom imprint clothing with decorative designs, and it was abandoned in 2007. So you can kind of go and see. Now let's see what's live. Georgia Pearl Girls, which is cultured pearls. So you can, even without any knowledge about, like, it says goods and services ICO14. That's the category, the international category, and we can talk more about that if you want. But you can see that Georgia Pearl Girls is different than what you're doing. You're not doing cultured pearls, right? So that's one we're not going to worry about. Then you're going to look at Georgia Girl. And the thing that you have to think about is it isn't like, well, Georgie Girl, and I spell it a certain way. Think about it as you're on a radio, and it doesn't sound similar. That's enough, right? Because we don't want people to get confused. So it isn't just the way it looks, and it isn't just the way it's spelled. It's also sort of how you hear it. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, so the next one is shirt. Georgia Girl is shirts, sweatshirts, headwear, namely baseball caps. So that's not you either, right?
Right. I see 025.
Yeah. And then Georgie Girl Bake Shop. That's not you either, right?
Right.
Georgie Girl Cosmetics. And then Georgie Girl You see, that's dead. Georgie Girl Cosmetics is dead. That's the next one. It was abandoned. And, pretty recently. Then, like, Georgie Girl Costumes, dance costumes. So, like, that one's the only one I see right now that could be, a little similar, right? But again, I would say it's probably distinguishable. This is when you would go to we have a trademark lab that you can apply for, and they'll do your legal work. You still pay the fees if you get accepted. And so I suspect they would do a little bit more research on the Georgie Girl costumes to make sure there's no problem with Georgie Girl patterns and quilting. I suspect it'd be fine, but I'm not your attorney, and I'm not doing a really serious. And then the last one is Georgia Pellegrino Girl Hunter. All right, that one doesn't sound like something that looks interesting, though, right?
That's right. It does.
Okay.
So,
and like, and so at the bottom, I like the disclaimer: no claim is made to the exclusive right to use Girl Hunter apart from the mark. So they're not trying to capture the market of Girl Hunter. Okay, so that's the first step. So nobody has Georgie Girl patterns or Georgie Girl, whatever it is, right? So now you know that at least the trademark is. And then also the second thing, if I get through that, that's always my first stop. Then I go to see if there is Georgie Girl. Just what happens if I go to Georgie Girl as a domain name. And I get to Georgie Girl Costumes. That's the one I've seen. I don't see... Is Georgie Girl on Facebook that's an impersonator. There's an impersonator in Toronto. There's a film. There is a Boy Georgie Girl, a documentary on Georgie Girl's a really famous cabaret singer, a cabaret diva. Do you know that?
Yeah, I do know that, and I also know there's a Georgie Girl in Australia.
Interesting. Okay, so again...
the phrase, but hasn't, trademarked it over here, so...
Got it. So Georgie Girl, again, so you're not... right. Georgie Girl is a transsexual of Maori descent who was elected to represent her district, right? Yeah. She's a famous... Interesting. Okay, so there's a lot of rabbit holes, right? So basically, what you're trying to say is, okay, well, obviously, Delta faucets, Delta airplanes can exist. Can you exist with a costume group and a showgirl, right? So, or a political showgirl, I guess. And so, likely, yes, right? So you talk to your attorney, they would feel comfortable with it. You talk to our lab, that would be fine. Now, let's say you found something when you did the first search and it was like Georgie Girl patterns or Georgie Girl fabric or something close like Georgie Girl shops or whatever, like fabric shops. Then we'd have a bit of a problem, right? And so you would have to think about a different name. That would be, that's the first step. So that's trademark. Now, strength of the mark. Georgie Girl, so there's 4 different categories of marks, since you asked these questions. There is generic. So if you have Apple for Apple, like I want to name my Apple company Apple, and we make apples, can't do that, right? You can do that, but you can't get protection because we don't want to lock up. Like you can't be like scissors company for scissors, right? Because that's not cool. Then there is suggestive and descriptive and arbitrary or fanciful. Now, arbitrary or fanciful is like the best version because it's made up name, a made up word, or sort of an arbitrary thing, like Apple computers, right? Mm-hmm. So those get super strong and they get a ton of protection. And then you get suggestive. So copper tone is an example. So copper tone is for sunscreen or tanning. And so it sort of, you kind of imagine what it is, right? So it's got that kind of suggestive stuff that's got strong portraits. But then also merely descriptive is like park and fly. So you park your car and fly. And we are not so sure about those kind because we think, well, maybe maybe it's a kind of generic-y, right? So it's park and fly. Is it too descriptive? And so we require for you to get a trademark on that, a whole bunch of stuff. So you get it, you preliminarily registered, and then you have to prove through customer surveys and all kinds of other things that that people know Park and Fly as a company and not just as a merely descriptive thing. So when we go back to patterns and naming your company, we want to get you into that category, that high level category, right? The arbitrary or even suggestive, and so that's also super important. Now, Georgie Girl doesn't seem to me like it's merely descriptive of something, right? It's a name. It's probably, our example, you're Georgina, so it's got a little bit of like your name, but it's not really, it's just a made up thing, right? So I think that's the next step I do with these, is first I look at USPTO, then I look at the domain to see if there's anything that sort of pops up, and then I look at what the name actually is, this descriptive, like where does it fall, how strong is this mark. And then the last one I do is I make sure there's no product, no fancy person, no McDonald's, no FedEx that is nationally known that would have something like this in their repertoire. Because if they do, then we can't use it either. Does that make sense? So if like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like this Georgie Girl that, and the problem is the world is so big, right? And there's so many people out there that it's most likely going to be very similar. And we found this one person who is on the internet, spells it differently, but is a little bit of looks like a celebrity, or this other person in Australia that does hair clips.
Yeah.
So I feel comfortable, but what do I know? I feel comfortable using the phrase. So then I start I tell people is let's start using it and let's go research across. Now, I take it a little bit further, but I'm not the same perspective that you are. I'm more of securing the name in Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, domains, and we lock all that up first before we say, here's the green light to start using it.
Right. So two things. First, let me just say one thing. So one thing that I say, because I've seen this over and over again with startups and entrepreneurs, they start to use the name, but they haven't cleared it legally. And that's really, to me, super scary, because you don't want to sort of do what you're saying, put out all this effort out, and then find out that you can't use the name. So, go to LegalZoom. It's not very expensive. Go, apply to our trademark lab that happens in August. This is the time to be applying. Get the name secured so that when you're starting to build the brand, it isn't like, there was this company in town, which I said, it was and they came to me early and it was crazy. They called themselves Crescent City Connections with an S, and we have a bridge called the Crescent City Connection. And I kept saying to them, you can't do that, right? You can't just put an S on something super famous and then start your company. And so you want to sort of avoid those, because what you do, Georgina, and I want you to tell people what you do, is that's we work hand in hand, right? I'm the legal worried side and you're the branding side. And so we want to make sure that we clear it legally before we start putting all this energy and effort into using it, right?
Right. So let me add to that. So I think it's essential that before you go through spending dollars, that you secure all the domains and all the social platforms with the same exact handle. And I call it a handle like, radio, like a truck driver would use their handheld radio and talk. It's that old-timey handle phrase, right?
Yeah.
So, but, it's a shame to then have to use something and find out you don't have the handle.
That's right.
So the best thing to do is to go out there, and we use Excel, and I'll just give all this information away if someone wants to write it all down.
Georgina, can you just back up for a second and explain to people, in case because I haven't posted your first one, and also because they may not have listened to the first one, tell us a little bit about who you are so they understand what kind of conversation we're having today.
Okay, well, I'm a computer person, even though I had trouble going to the website.
Yeah.
So I own Shazam Media. So here we have Shazam Media, which is a branding company, but you also have the Shazam app, very similar type of they're both on technology, but different verticals, right?
Yeah.
So Shazam, and that's a great example for our topic today, but Shazam Media builds websites. And so I'm a national speaker and teacher across the nation, teaching other people how to build websites. And then we have 140 clients around the world that we maintain their websites. Well, last year I fell into quilting because my mother owns a online shop. And so I decided to start donating some of my time into the quilt industry, and now have some very large fan groups of different, boutiques, and also Kay Facet, and a couple other Facebook groups. And I did it as a case study for conference this year, because when I go to market, I'm a speaker in November. So any shop owner listening to this probably would, be a good idea to sit in that session, because I'm going to be talking about 3 recurring revenue ideas that you can make money while you sleep if you do it right, and it's simple. So in all of that, what we then do is we help people. We've just started building some websites for some of the long arm quilters and some quilt shops, all online stuff. But mainly I'm teaching classes right now online, teaching people how to do email blasts. I mean, I say email blasts, and people go, what is that? And that's the number one way to make money on the internet, is communicating with your customers.
Yeah.
So, one of the key things is when they come to us, because we're at the top level of our field, and because we teach, we have a broad and very depth view of all the little things you should do right to begin with. And one of the very first things we tell people is, when you're thinking of a name, like, for example, we started pettingfabric.com. So it's a website where contests are displayed and winners are displayed for these free Facebook groups and fan groups. And it sells some other products at a deep discount that shops won't carry. So you would try to add value, and we went out and we secured all the handles for Petting Fabric.
And I'm at your website now. So tell me a little bit more about Petting Fabrics. First, how did you come up with the name? Because we're talking about Trademark, and I think that's really interesting.
So Petting Fabric, I sat in my groups. And I watched, so we had a contest where people were doing a video when they got their first mystery quilt, like a block of the month for CAFE's 2018 product, and they're taking the fabric out and they're petting it and they're rubbing it. And I started cracking up laughing. I'm like, I have got to start a website called Petting Fabric.
That's really great.
And then people now go out there and they post jokes like, I will get a PM and it'll say, Georgina, go to this other group. They're talking about you and they're doing # Petting Fabric. And
that's really interesting.
They love it, but it was a play off of, what I saw people doing.
Yeah. Now, what's really cool is you've got also these worksheets. That's really interesting. And then you have a membership thing. So tell me a little bit about the membership. And you price it really reasonably at $4.95 a month, which I see is like a really sweet spot in terms of membership right now. It's like that seems to be. So tell me a little bit about what it is and why you priced it that way.
Okay, so when I sat in the groups, all of this is inspired by the group. So I sat there in the group, and I'm watching these ladies say, I've got all these UFOs, and I can't get everything done. And, the problem is, I think, is that some of these, there's some fabulous quilt planners books out there. They're released once a year. You have to, get in when they're available. And I said, you know what, let's do electronic online downloads.
Yeah.
I did contact Free Spirit, and I said, can I use some of CAFE's prints that's in the quilt for this year? And they said, sure, you can. Just give us, disclosure at the bottom. So I have these worksheets for his block of the month, which is really called a mystery quilt. Available, but that's only, I don't know, maybe 10 of 65. So we started building planner sheets that women could download, really print off, write their journals. They love to write journals. I mean, we're all kind of like scrapbookers at heart, right? So we're writing their journals, and then they'll submit us requests, and they'll say, hey, can you give me, a swatch sheet. So we'll create a swatch sheet where they can get their swatches, put it on there, they can journal about it. We did a shopping sheet so they could take their print it, go get their fabrics to match what was in their kit, and go shopping with that checklist. It's really cool stuff, but it's all reality based. It's all based on demand and what people really need, and not a bunch of junk thrown into the mix that they won't use. And they can download them as they want, and when we put different colorways. And it's very expensive. It was very expensive to hire the staff to build the website and to do these journal sheets. We do a couple each month. And so we said, it doesn't really matter what the cost is for the startup. What matters is, what is the price point? How much are they paying for the current quilt books and calendars that are out there that are only released about this time of year? That's like the school books, they're all released now and then they're sold out before December. So how can we get that price point and break it down monthly? So that's how we started. And we posted about it. And then on Mother's Day, I made one. There's a little video on the wall that they can watch, and it helped them get ideas on how they can assemble it for a Mother's Day gift. So we kind of did that. And then it evolved into, we had members that want to be designers and they don't have their name out there. And I said, you know what? Any monies that we make, because we're, definitely losing money this year, but that's okay. It's an investment. And I said, you know what? Any monies we make, let's pour it back into buying patterns from our members.
That's really great.
And so we paid one shop owner in New York for one of her patterns, and we put it up on the wall. And the only condition is you have to be a member at $4.95 a month, which is like less than a cup of Starbucks coffee, right? So we found that went over really big.
That's really great.
And this month, and the last thing I want to share is, like, this month I found out, even my mom, who owns a quilt shop, she has like 4 tote patterns. And I'm like, why aren't you making totes? And she's like, I'm a little hesitant. And someone else on the wall commented, well, we sew flat over here. And I start laughing and I go, okay, I designed a tote. It's called a mega tote. And I designed the mega tote, which, fits the 9-inch rulers and all this stuff. And so I'm going to be donating my time every Monday night for 6 weeks until market, showing them how to put together it's not complicated. There's just a lot of pieces, and that's the problem. When there's a lot of pieces, people get scared. So let's do it together. And while we're doing it, I'll show you my mistakes. And it really puts a human face on,
Hugely.
We're running, designers aren't perfect.
Hugely. I think that's true with our sew-along that we have with Gigi and Corey. Since Corey's a law student in learning, it's been really nice because she has to learn and Gigi has to teach her, and there's something very human and like accessible about sort of the level that we're playing at. Okay, so so Petting Fabric, the name. Now, are you going to trademark the name? Have you done that yet? Are you going to apply to our lab, or are you just going to do it on?
I'm going to apply to the lab, and I'm going to apply to the lab for Petting Fabric, which is a business. And I want to clarify on the discussion here so people understand the difference. We are going to trademark the business and the phrases and terms that the business uses, like Petting Fabric. But personally, if if Jenny can be Tulip Pink, Georgina can be Georgie Girl. So I'm like, I want to be Georgie Girl because I get called Georgie a lot. And so personally, which is separate from the company, I personally want to do a brand, and that was, the inspiration for the first question.
Got it. Right. So you want to create a brand. Now, when you did your company, did you become an official company like an LLC or some sort of, did you do the structure of it?
That's exactly what I did. And so when people come to me, I look at it from a perspective of I did a corporation, a sub-S. So they can either be an LLC or they can be a corporation. They need to consult with an accountant for that. But we did a company. We researched the name. We researched all the domains. We researched all the handles. We locked everything up, and then we applied.
Then you applied. And then that's really interesting. So you also have a shop. So I'm really curious about how you set that up as well. Because you've got the downloadable part, which is members only, but then you also have some fabric and some stuff you've made, like the mug and other things. So how did you decide, and T-shirts, how did you decide to do that part of it?
So because we teach this stuff in e-commerce, right, is the biggest growing force in the world.
Yeah.
Look at Amazon, right? Amazon's our example. And that's really, I mean, it quadruples every year. So everyone should have an online shop, period. And you should pick the things that are on demand from your clients. And you know that by doing the social platforms. If you listen and you give your time, you'll find out really what they're interested in.
Yeah.
And some of it is trial and error. So I don't purchase directly from manufacturers. I purchase from my customers, the shop owners. So shop owners I buy, and I only kit the quilts after I take a poll of what the shop owners will not kit, because I'm not competing with them.
Right.
So I go, I put in our wall, our shop owners are our advertisers, so they get to sponsor a contest. Yeah. And then after they sponsor a contest, only they who sponsor a contest get to then go out there and advertise one kit. And it's interesting, we talked about this on the last call.
Yeah, we did.
They have to learn to work together and not compete with each other and each pick a unique quilt. But the group may want something much more advanced.
Yeah.
So the shops don't want to carry it because it's 30 different SKUs.
Yeah.
So at Market, I'm going to be giving an Excel spreadsheet that's really cool that you go in and you can put in the configurator of the pattern that you want to kit, and it will tell you exactly how many kits per bolt you need to make, and or if you just buy one more bolt of item number 19 on the 30 SKUs, you can make 40. So, these are solutions that I'm able to provide to the shop owners by becoming a mini version of them and experiencing their pain. And also, where I'm experiencing a lot of pain in the shipping costs. So I'm only doing one quilt, and the cost is exorbitant. And I'm sitting here going, now I understand why they're complaining. Right. Wouldn't it be great in a perfect world in 2 or 3 years that we could unite the quilt industry and demand better shipping rates for our industry like Amazon gets, Yeah.
The shipping is really, really brutal. Yeah.
It is brutal.
We've heard that before. Okay, so let's go back. So you've got, tell me how you're growing. So you've got Petting Fabric. You made a company. You're getting it. You're doing you've got all the handles. You're getting in the process of getting the trademark on it. Tell me how you're building the business, because that's really what your forte is, right? Is the social media outgrowth and all of that. So tell me what you're doing with that.
So it's all Facebook driven. So it's not Instagram. Instagram is great. I love Instagram. I love Pinterest. Like those are my favorite things to do. But getting people to interact with each other is the key to where the market's going, especially older men and women who sew. We have men and women in our groups. Yeah. And, getting them to be heard. I think so many times there's a young market in our group. The majority is older, and that's what's great about Facebook. So all the listeners, the problem with Facebook is twofold. One is it can be a very negative space. You have to really control your group. It takes a lot of dedication to start a group, making sure there's no complaining or no hate going back and forth if someone says something that someone else doesn't like. Yeah. And you have to then, spend a lot of time PMing those people personally and going, I love you, I adore you, you're a great asset to our group, but hey, let's not call anyone else out. If you have an issue, just report it to me and let me handle it. The second thing is as a shop owner, is to learn to put the group out there and let the group drive the direction and not try to force the direction. There are starter topics that I will have. I just got this cute little badge from Facebook that said, I'm a conversational starter. I thought that was hilarious. But you need every Wednesday. I do Wacky Wednesday contests. So we have a 3-part contest going. On Mondays, I may say, it's every other Mondays, I'll say, it's a member update. And I'll grab some of the analysis that's in the back of Facebook and show it to them onto how big and diverse our group is, because we have members in Spain and Australia. And I'll put it like a content. I'll put it like it's a challenge. I'll go, look, or a race. I'll say, look how our membership's growing, and look at Houston. They're taking off. They're above Chicago or whatever. And it's so funny because then a whole bunch of the members will invite their other friends from their area, so their city grows up the list. Yeah. Yep. That's how you grow it in a very constructive way, in a positive way. And then everyone likes to win, but when we do contests, not every week, but every so often, we ask them to post a picture of someone, themselves, a selfie, someone they love, because people like to share that stuff about themselves. And too many times our kids, right, they come home, they tell us about their day, but they forget to go, how was your day, Mommy?
Yes.
You know, so Facebook becomes the place where people actually get to care about each other. And our groups are actually meeting. I see where people are getting together and having lunches and meeting as they travel to these different cities. Yeah,
totally.
It's really cool.
I totally love that part of it. And like I've interviewed people like Sarah Miller who that was like, hey, can I come stay with you? So like right. it breeds like community, online community breeds off in-world community. So let me ask you, tell me again, because I want to follow this a little bit more carefully. Tell me about what's the name of the group on Facebook? Is it there? I'm on Facebook and I'm trying to figure out which one is yours. Yours is the.
Okay. I'm the largest one that's not KFC. So if you go to K Facet Quilt Support Group,
K Facet,
and you read
Quilt
Support Group.
Oh, I see that. Okay.
And you'll see, cool. And so this was my second question to you. So I was going to pose this question to everyone, but it's a fan group. So, we're allowed to have unofficial fan groups around the world.
Yes,
like
you are.
Celebrities like Bon Jovi wouldn't have a huge fan group.
So you're asking about, are you asking about the name of using K Facet in it?
So that was going to be, that was going to be kind of my second question to you so other people can learn, right?
Yes.
And by the way, I do want to say before you answer this question, I want to let everyone know that when, they go to create a Facebook group, they have some Facebook terms and conditions they have to agree to, and they need to read those. Because Facebook tells you right there, if you do this, and this, you can be a support group or a fan group of a brand. But you have to have disclosures saying, I'm not official, and here's the link to the official one, blah, blah, blah. But tell us about, can we start a fan group and how that process is outside of just Facebook.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I'm looking at the Facebook. Right. So it's saying that you can't, if you're a fan, so nominative use. So if I'm a Laker Laker basketball person and then I'm not a Laker basketball person, I can say I was formerly a Laker basketball person. I can tell you I'm a Tulane law professor, right? That's a nominative use of the Laker trademark or the Tulane trademark, nominative use. So there's a very famous case in the IP field about a Playboy bunny who she makes, it's very early in the making web pages, and she says she was a Playmate of the Year, right? 1981 Playmate of the Year. I think it's 1981. And Playboy sues her because she has the name on the website, and she also has made a wallpaper that has like PYO, Playmate of the Year, the letters of it in the background, really, really faintly. If you go on Wayback Machine at the Internet Archive, you can actually go see it. And the court says, look, you can do a nominative use. You can say you were Playmate of the Year. That's no problem. But you cannot decorate with it. Does that make sense? So you can't like be like, Kate Fawcett, right? You can't do that. But you can say like, and then there's another set of cases that are about gripe sites. So if you say like walmartsucks.com, you can do that, right? Because First Amendment, and we want people to be able to complain and be able to know what you're complaining about. So what you're asking about are fan sites that use the name of the person. And that is interesting. We should talk more about that. I mean, we should do more research on it, like what the law, what any kind of legal cases that come up. But in generally nominative use that you are a fan site of blah, 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 that usually is okay. Now, then you get another layer, which is you're on a platform that's a private platform, Facebook, Pinterest, all of these platforms. And so they can keep you from doing things, right? Like, so each of them have their own laws and rules about what they're doing.
Right? When we go through the process, not a page, but a group, when we go through the process, it's one of the screens that pop up. So we're going to create another one this week for someone, and I'll go through and
Can you do some screenshots of it?
For you.
Yeah, screenshot it, and then we can add to it here.
Sure.
But there should be, I mean, that's so ridiculous, right? Creating.
You have to find it.
Right. Like, why isn't it coming up, right?
Contests are, right. And when you go do a contest, I don't always remember to follow the rules because it's hidden somewhere. And when I could create a contest on the fly, let me just tell the audience that's listening as well, I want to talk about GDPR, and I'm not going to get, that's a whole nother hour-long discussion. But this is so important that everyone understands that when you create a group, you can ask 3 questions for them to enter, but you cannot ask for their email address. It is a new law that came out in May. Are you guys talking about it in the law department yet?
We have had some conversations about it. And it's coming out of Europe, and because everything,
right.
And so they're leading the, and so we all saw it, right? Every single one had to update their privacy requirements and what they could and couldn't do, right?
Right. And the problem is, this is the real problem, is that you don't know, and we don't censor, and Facebook doesn't censor who's joining the group. So you can't determine if it's an American who's married to someone from Britain, right? British. So you don't know if they are then dual passports, and then you are then infringing on their rights just because they have dual citizenship. That means everyone needs to take it into consideration and be really committed to being able to allow the user to remove themselves, to remove their information. And if you prompt 3 questions and you ask for their email address, you've just violated GDPR. And I see that abused so much.
But the question I have is sort of, what are the repercussions of that? Have you seen anybody actually, everybody's super afraid of it, but is there any really repercussion? Is Facebook,
there is.
Who's policing it, I guess?
Yeah, so there's an activist lawyer in Australia, and he's already filed a $1 billion lawsuit to Facebook, and I think it's a dual lawsuit against Facebook and Google. And the process right now, and it's a real process, it's a real issue, and the process is that you will be notified, your country will be notified of a violation, and you'll get a warning, and you have X number of days. It's very quick. Like, as soon as the auditor from GDPR is notified, they have 72 hours to notify the other country, and the other country has just 72 hours to make sure you're notified to stop doing it. And so I would think they're going after the large fish first.
Yep.
But unfortunately, it's going to be hitting the smaller fish, all of the smaller businesses eventually, and you will lose that database. So one of the things that happened, I know we're diverting our topic.
Yeah, it's okay.
We could get into a lot of details, but I will tell you 2 things, is that if you have a WordPress website, you actually have to put in your new privacy policy page for GDPR compliancy. And there's been a new Google algorithm that just came out. We call it the mystery algorithm, because we don't know, they're not telling us what the changes are in it. However, I have seen major ex-clients fall off of the first page of Google, and in the last 2 months, they've called up my team saying, hey, can we come back? Because our servers are private, they're fast, they have SSLs, and they're GDPR compliant. So that's what put them back on the first page of Google. So these things are really serious things that are going to affect your business. Even if you think you don't have to comply, Google's already eliminating people that aren't following the rules. I mean, that's why I'm sure every listener on here has tried to go to a website recently that they've always gone to, and now they've got this error message that says it's not secured. That's because of this law in May. And it came they put it into effect July 1st on the World Wide Web.
Yes, so that's why we got all of those people having everybody's website getting updated, and you got all that stuff and blah, blah, blah. So we'll do more on this, and we'll get some experts to talk about sort of the legal stuff and all that. I'm really curious, sort of all of that. Okay. So let's get back to the hypo. So the hypo is
We've really gotten off the topic.
The hypo is you're starting a business. You want to make sure the name is okay. You're going to then check out now, how many members do you have right now in Petting Fabric? Can I ask? Like how much? So the question is, you started with the Facebook group. This is such an interesting part of this. And what we're trying to understand as well, you start with a Facebook group, you grow the Facebook group to like almost 5,000 in your Facebook group. Is that right?
Right. And then a month ago, about 6 weeks ago, I started boutiques, artisans, quilts, projects, and more. And I think we are getting 300 a week. And I'm only accepting 100 in a week. Call it a sister group, but it's all different brands. And I think I talked in our last session that, that Island Boutique and I had a discussion in May Market, and they're going to be involved in a project we're going to be doing. So I'm starting to grow the group now, and I'm starting to learn what the group needs are and what their interests are. And it's about learning. I think the motto here is, learn about your customer, learn what their needs are, stop assuming. Assuming.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, so how much, so you've got now.
I'm excited too because, I appreciate the opportunity to come on and talk, and I'm sorry we've kind of gone all over. I've only gone through 2 of my 10 hypothetical questions.
It's all good. It's all good. We will keep chatting. Yes, that's good.
Okay, good.
Two is good. So sign up again.
Maybe we.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry. Sign up again, and we keep playing because you have good hypos. It's good.
Okay, good. Thank you so much.
All right, Fab. Take care. Bye.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
So this is Elizabeth Townsend-Gard. You've been listening to Just Wanna Quilt, a research podcast coming out of Tulane University Law School. We want to hear from you. Join our army, our quilting army. Go to our Facebook page. Suggest people